Welcome to A Second Chance at Life. I'm your host, Arvilla Beckworth, and thank you for joining for another episode. Today, I have another interview with the amazing woman named Sharon Wright. She does a lot of things from being a teacher, doing homemade cards, and also doing glasses, and she is a mom as well. So, without further ado, let me bring my girl Sharon on.
Hey,
Hey, Sharon, how are you today?
how are you, girlfriend?
Doing good, doing good. It's Friday.
Yes, it's the weekend.
Yes, it is time to do some self-care this weekend and get mine right for next week, huh?
Yes, exactly.
Girl. Well, I don't want to hold you any further.
Mm.
I know you're on social media, but would you mind telling my ladies a little bit about yourself?
Okay, then. All right, ladies. My name is Sharon Wright, and I am a special ed educator of 25 years, but currently I am serving as a district specially designed instructional coach. So I support special ed teachers, helping them improve as far as their instruction. So, of course, our scholars can benefit. I am also the proud mom of my handsome sunshine. He's 24 years old. And I am the blessed owner of Homemade Creations, where I specialize in the gift of the heart. So I have three products. I have handcraft greeting cards, I do picture frames and gift baskets. And what makes my business unique is my ability to articulate and express my customers' feelings and emotions in my creations. So as a result, I just create magical and memorable moments between my customers and their recipients when they get my creations. And
Mhm.
then finally, or I don't want to say finally because it's like I'm always working on something, but I also have a sunglass boutique. Because I love sunglasses. There's no extra about it. I just love sunglasses. So I have a sunglass boutique, and I'm also currently working on Shay's Closet, which is going
Okay.
to be a consignment shop. So that's something up and coming. And then finally, I am also known on social media as Ms. Success Junkie, and I just consider myself your daily dose of inspiration. So it's just a positive community that I've started. And my prayer and hopes is that I can just influence, inspire, and motivate as many people as possible to live and not just live, but to live their best life and believe that success is always something that's obtainable for them.
Ooh, and see, that's what I talk about an introduction. When you already know what God called you to be, it just comes right out of your mouth.
Yeah, okay.
It's just flowing after overflow. And as you talk
Yes.
about social media, when I watch you on social media, you're always just full of energy. You
Hmm.
have a positive outlook on life. You're always smiling, and then you always dressing when you're on there. You always got something new, something, hairstyle,
Thank you.
outfit. I know as women, sometimes we struggle with lack of self love, self image, confidence. How do you overcome that?
Um, first, what I'm gonna do is be a little different. I'm gonna tell you what my definition of these terms
Okay,
are,
love it.
and
Yes.
I'm giving you that so when I explain how I overcame, or even still in the process of overcoming, you'll understand. So when
Okay.
I think of self love, I think about me looking in the mirror and
Mhm.
choosing to love Sharon as is, learning to love my flaws, what I may perceive to be my imperfections, learning to have grace, learning how to forgive myself of
Mm.
mistakes that I may have made, and um, just um, learning about my value and my worth, right? So when I think about self love, I think about all of that, and how I take care of myself and how I take control of my own happiness. So that's what comes to my mind, right? When I think of self love. And then if you think about it from that, when you learn to really truly love yourself, then then you love everything about you. So then when it comes to self-image, which is more than just your physical, it's about your character and your personality. You learn to just love who you are.
Right.
Quirkiness and all, right? Corniness and all. And then from there, your confidence is built. Because if you love yourself, you think highly of yourself, you can't do nothing but have confidence, right? And so I put that out there so you can understand when I tell you the things I did to overcome, right? Because these have been all areas of struggles, and sometimes still is, right? Just being transparent. So one of the first things I did far as helping me overcome far as or so much just learning to really love me was I had to just be still and step back. And for mine, it started because of temporary relationships that I thought were meant to be permanent. And as women, you know, those heartbreaks, those relationships that we look at as failures, which are really not failures, they just weren't meant to be there. They were there for a reason and a season, right? But it really impacted me. And so I had to get to a point, I had to just be still. And so a lot of times we don't know how to do that. We don't know how to step back and just be still. It's almost like you have to withdraw sometimes.
Right.
Whether it's a relationship, friendship, family, and then when they say, it sounds cliche, but it's reality when we talk about eliminate those things that no longer serve us. So when you analyze your life and say, okay, who do I have in my life instead of pouring into me, they're draining me. What do I have in my life that's bringing me down instead of lifting me up? And then you learn to erase those things, right? You eliminate them, you cut them out, and you just spend time with yourself. And so that was the first thing I chose to do. So, like for me, I didn't date for 2 whole years. And that was huge for me because I had always been connected with a man, whether we was in a relationship or just dating or just having fun. Y'all know with me, we're grown.
Right.
But for the first time in my life, I had to step back because I'm thinking to myself, first of all, I'm tired of being hurt, but I'm also the common denominator. So what's going on with me? So I think one of the ways that we can learn to love ourselves is we have to take time to date ourselves, take time to spend time with ourselves and reflect. So during that time, I'm reflecting, I'm writing down my thoughts and feelings and going back and reading them, analyzing the things that I wrote down. Like, oh, I said this. Wow, wow. Like I learned so much about myself. So I think that's one of the steps someone can do is stop, take that time, and don't worry about who you're going to lose in that season. Because see, sometimes we don't want to take that time to just focus on us and figure ourselves out because we're afraid if I go and have this time for myself, I'm gonna lose my friends, I'm gonna lose this. I'm a firm believer what is meant for you is gonna still be there, right?
Right.
And so that was one of the things I did. And for some people, you might be able to do like I did and do a lot of self-reflection and start learning things about yourself, or you might need some professional help. And if that be the case, there's nothing wrong with it, right? Because you want to try to get to the root as much as possible as to why are we acting the way we are? Why are we choosing to accept things that we don't deserve to accept? You know, my mama told me, can't nobody do no more to you than what you allow them to. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So during that time, I'm just being self-reflective. I'm learning to learn sharing. I'm figuring out what do I really like, where do I like to go. And I had to forgive myself during that time because I got so frustrated with myself when I look back on my life and I'm mad, like you knew better. You shouldn't have did this. So I had to also learn. That's why I say learning to love yourself, having that grace, being able to forgive yourself and know that you're human and that it's okay. So by me doing that and learning to take control of my own happiness, that just changed things, and then I'm a woman of God, so I also stayed grounded in his word. And so by me reading the Bible and studying God's word about what he says for me, that also helped me too, because it's like, but God said I'm this. And he said I'm that. He created me to this. So why would I think anything less? And so I just started learning my value. I started learning my worth. And I started learning what I like, what I don't like, how I want to be treated, how I don't want to be treated. And so it made all the difference in the world. The other thing I did to help kind of overcome, especially with the confidence part, was, like I said, reading God's word, speaking life to myself. I still do that. I just have time. Even if it's something simple, I'm like, girl, you are more than a conqueror. When I face some challenges, I'm like, no, you got this. God is with you. You're going to make it through. You know what I'm saying? I have to give myself that pep talk. You're beautiful. Stop thinking that way. And then my community. Like, I think that's important. So I align myself up, or I should say, God just start connecting me with positive people. So I started being around folks that were speaking life to me, people who were seeing greatness in me that I wasn't even seeing in myself at the time. And I think that's imperative to have in your life because they can help with that. You start feeling good when people
You
saying stuff
do.
like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh my God, okay, all right, girl," you know what I'm saying? And it makes you feel good. And so those are just some things that I did, you know what I'm saying, to try to start helping myself, learn to love sharing, having that confidence, you know what I'm saying? And then when it comes to my image, you talking about my style and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I've always been a cute girl, right? Once I got past my tomboy years, which was about 8th grade. So I'm not flashy, but I just like to be cute. Even when I dress down, I just put on something, and somebody I don't threw something on. Somebody, girl, you cute. I'm like, huh? I just threw something on. You know what I'm saying? So I just personally just like to be cute. But my struggles though have been when I'm alone and I take everything off. I've had a love-hate relationship with my body. And so how do you overcome that because we're our biggest critics,
We are. Yeah.
stomach big, arms, whatever about your body you're not liking, da 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 da. But what happened was in that journey of learning to love myself, because it's ongoing, right?
Yep.
I had read something so powerful, and it talked about how we have to be so careful what we put out in the atmosphere. Even when you're joking, you're putting things out in the atmosphere. And that was, I don't know, just resonated with me. So I was like, I got to stop saying the things I'm saying because I'm being kind of cruel to myself. I'm being mean to myself. I'm being nasty to myself. But I say I love myself. So the question was, do you really love yourself?
Yeah.
Because if you do, then why are you talking about yourself like that? So I had to, it was still an ongoing struggle of just learning. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Belly,
Right.
stomach, thighs, arms, whatever. I love sharing.
That's it.
Period.
That's
You know what
it.
I'm saying? And just, and then there's nothing wrong to want to improve in any aspect. So, but I really have to start learning to just really love me as I am, and even really get away from about the weight thing. Just look at I want to live a healthy life.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to live a healthy life, what are some decisions that I'm gonna make in order to have a healthier life? And then I just feel like, as far as the weight and all other stuff, I think it'll just naturally come along because I'm making better choices. Does that make sense?
Right. That makes complete sense. Yes. That
Mm-hmm.
does.
So those are some things I did was definitely spending time and stepping back and just focusing on me, doing some deep diving, a lot of self reflection, and so now I'm very self aware now. And I think that's important. I'm self aware of my feelings when I'm starting to feel a certain way. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So, yeah. So I think that and just eliminating those things that don't serve us and surrounding yourself around positive people and positive energy. And if you are a person of faith, stay grounded in God's word.
And you talk about just going within. I know back in 2021, you stepped away from social media to do
Oh,
a mental fast.
mm-hmm.
What prompted you to do that?
Girl. I don't know if anyone has ever experienced. I felt like I had 101 people talking in my head. Like, okay, you got to do duty. Because I'm thinking from work to business to everything.
Mm-hmm.
You got duty. You got the kids need lesson plan. Oh, you got how you gonna have grade them papers? How you gonna do this? Oh, wait a minute, you got your business. You got to post on social media. Oh, you got to do this. You got to do so many posts. This, and it was just like da 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 da. People need results, so you got to print it. And it was just like 101 things was going through my head,
Uh-huh.
and I was overwhelmed. And I was feeling frustrated because I had been surrounded by so many beautiful people and coaches that I was feeling like, okay, well, maybe this new position that God has placed me in, am I supposed to be a coach? Or, I need to come up with something. And then people always talk about making money. I'm like, oh, so I was caught up in that. But it was
Mm-hmm.
also, it was eating at my mental state. And then I just felt like I coming and going. You know, I felt like one of them, just like that. And I was like, I'm about to crash mentally. I'm like, I can't do this. I need to step back. This is too much. I'm overwhelmed. It's over information overload. I got too much on my plate. That's what triggered it. So I said, because I'm gonna go crazy if I don't do something.
Right.
So, that's what targeted it in the first place. Like I need to step back, take a break, but I was afraid to. I was afraid to for a couple things, especially with social media. One, I got a business. You know, everybody talk about being on social media with your business. So I'm like, hey, I take a break, you know, on my business. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, wait a minute. You know, they say, you know, your email. If you get your email thing, you can still, those in that loop can still be in the loop with you while you take your breaks. So I was like,
right.
And then people got my number, so people want to place orders. They know how to call me or go online. So I said, okay, your business on this had to stop, but you can still take a break from Instagram. Then I thought about my new platform, you know, so Success Junkie, it's a slow build up, but slowly but surely I'm getting more followers. And it was like in that moment, I was starting to get just a tiny bit of momentum. And I was like, hey, if I take a break, I might. And I just didn't know what to do. I'm like, I need a break. This is too much. I was stressed and I had self-inflicted pressure.
That's good. You recognize that.
Yeah. And I said that way because I was pressuring myself. Well, nobody pressuring me to do nothing, no kind of way. But I start pressuring myself. Like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do this way. I got to hurry up. I was doing that. So that's why I say self-inflicted pressure. So I prayed on it. And I just was like, Lord, I always ask, like, Lord, you sure this is what you want me to do? Like, can I stop? And he never tell me to stop. He always say yes. But I said, Lord, I need a break. And I got this. It was okay to take a break. So that's what sparked it. I took a break, but I didn't know what the break was going to look like. I didn't like how long. I know at the time I said I need about 3 weeks. I need a good 3 weeks. And lo and behold, I went to Hobby Lobby where I go to get my supplies a lot of times for my business. And I don't know if anybody going to Hobby Lobby. You know how you walk out, they always got them good books. They have
yes,
really
that's good stuff.
So I'm standing in line waiting. I look down. There was this book about social media fast for 40 days. I said, oh God.
Look at it. Look at them.
I said, I cannot believe this. You know what I'm saying? I was just talking about this. I didn't know how many days it take. And I don't know. My book around here somewhere. I don't know. It's on my bookshelf somewhere. But I couldn't believe it. And I said, 40 days? Shoot, that's a whole month and a half. That's a long time. But everything in my spirit said do it. It was the best thing I could have did. Anytime I have chosen me over everything else and took that time has always been beneficial. So that's what I did. And so I used the book because it was a guide. It was like a devotional type of thing. So each day, I would do the little reading and the prayer like that. So
okay. Now, and even during your fast, was there ever any moment that your happiness suffered?
No, it actually didn't. The only thing was just like anything when you used to doing something all the time, that initial withdrawal. It was almost like a drug, like that initial withdrawal of wanting to pick up the phone and be on there. And it's like, no. So it was kind of like, it was an adjustment at first. Like, well, shoot, what I'm going to do then? Because I'm like, I normally be on my phone. So it took probably about, not long though, probably within that first week. And after that, when I say there is not a price you can put on peace, I experienced a sense of peace. And with that peace, it allowed me to clear out my thoughts. It allowed me to calm down. And it allowed me to pray, listen, and then really rethink what I'm doing, how I'm doing. And then I had to go back to, I want to be happy with this because of everything I do for my business, Success Junkie, is authentically from the heart. And I'm like, my life is my life. I'm not gonna allow what other people doing. What you're doing for you is cool.
Yeah.
I got to do this for me because it's still in my joy trying to keep up with however people are moving and grooving. I got to move to my own beat. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to get back to, just how I've learned to control my happiness in other areas. I said, I'm about to control my happiness in this too. So that's what I would say. That peace, man, it's priceless. Can't even put a price to it. So that's why I said I didn't suffer. My happiness didn't suffer. If anything, it restored. You see what I'm saying? You know, you doing something from the heart and it's a passion, you're enjoying it. But then sometimes when it becomes so much where you almost lose your joy for it because it's
right.
And so it restored that.
Now, once you completed the 40 days, what things changed for you? What changes did you see?
For one, it just made me realize that I can really just move at my own pace. And that's just what I did. And I did it. I was unapologetic about it. I'm about to just be sharing. This is my journey. I'm going to move at my pace. I'm going to do what I need to do. So one of the changes was when I came back, that's when I started thinking about, you know what? I'm a dose of inspiration. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, my platform right now is not about making money at all.
Right.
It is authentically about really just trying to inspire people to live. And I say that because of things that I've gone through, what I'm saying, struggling mentally to the point I'm like not even really wanting to be here. And so I'm like, I'm a light. So I got to let my light shine. And so I'm like, no. And I'm not going to be pressured about how often I post. I'm going to post when the spirit moves me to post. Because I just knew, I said, whatever's meant for me, it's going to be meant for me. Because just like my followers, I didn't really lose no followers during them 40 days. You know what I'm saying? And even now, followers come and go, come and go. I don't care nothing about that. I know whoever's in part of my page, my circle, my community are meant to be there. They're meant to receive the messages that I put out. So that's one of the things that changed my mindset of how I was looking at everything. And it is once again, it just continued that sense of peace. And then I came out saying, okay, I'm going to start taking breaks when I need to take a break. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to do that. And so that's how I am now. And I ain't making no announcement. If I feel I need a weekend break, I'm taking a dang on weekend break. If I need a week off from anything, I'm going to take that week off. You know what I'm saying? So I came back refreshed, rejuvenated, taking more ownership about how God wants to move. Because I still ask him to order my steps so that he gets the glory in everything that I do. So, that's just, I guess that was like a mental change, and I ain't really allow myself to get stressed out there no more about anything. Yep. When I start getting that anxiety stuff kicking in, that's why I said I just learned to be still. I learned to breathe. I'm dead serious because I feel it. I feel it in my body. I'm starting to, and I just learned to be still. I learned to breathe and really think things out so that I can respond versus react.
And in talking about that, we all get in those dark places when the devil tries to attack our mind and steal our joy.
Yes.
How do you protect your mind?
My main way of protecting my mind, truth be told, is stay grounded in God's word. I can't say no other thing but to stay grounded in God's word, because I came across this quote one day and it was so powerful because it resonated, because I can be a testament to it. As you just said, the devil's task is to steal, kill, and destroy. But God came so that we may have life and have it abundantly according to his riches and glory, right? So one thing that the devil cannot do, because he's not more powerful than our God, is he can't stop the blessings. But what he does is he attacks our mind so that we no longer want the blessings.
Ooh, that's deep.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes. And that's and I mean, that resonated with me so deeply because it's so true.
Right.
Because that's why I think, our mindset is in our mental health is so important, because if we don't take care of our mental state, those are the type of things that happen. that's when we stop believing in ourselves. That's when we don't have that confidence no more. That's when we lose our hope. That's when we lose our faith. That's when we start having those limited beliefs. We don't think outside the box no more. We believe in the impossible instead of the possible. And so what does that do? That destroys dreams. That eliminates dreams. You're not dreaming anymore. You're not believing in no possible. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Thinking about some possibilities and opportunities that could really exist for you. And if it's not addressed properly, unfortunately for some of us, we can lose valuable, precious people. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've learned, because I've went there, I've learned to just stay grounded in his word. Don't go astray. Just stay grounded in his word. And so that's one of the things that helped me. And then, of course, I do, like, far as making sure, like, the things I look at, the things I listen to are positive. I like to watch I got motivational videos, but, you just listen to, saved on my YouTube. I got a little list,
Mm-hmm.
I like listening to certain music because, like, gospel music is inspirational to me. But I also like just jazz, because jazz, like, I just like instruments, keeps me calm. And like I said, I'm intentional even on social media. You know what I'm saying? I have certain people that I like to follow and go check and see what they're talking about, because they just give me life when I listen. I'm inspired. I'm inspired by you. I'm inspired by other people. So those are the things that I do, because you have to be careful of what you take in.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I stopped watching the news a long time ago. I just go online to keep up what's going on with the world, but I stopped watching it because 90% of the news is negative. And I'm serious. You keep watching and listening to all that negative stuff, it starts affecting you. You
It
don't
does.
realize it,
You
but
feel
it's
hopeless.
affecting you. Yeah. I stopped watching all that trashy. I was into all that stuff, all those trashy shows and
Reality shows.
all that. I was all into it, but I had to think about the energy,
Mm-hmm.
the vibrations that were coming to me. So I had to remove all of that. I don't even watch TV. I watch Netflix, but I can pick and choose what I choose
Right.
to watch on Netflix. You get what I'm saying? So
Right.
those are just a combinations of things. But the main thing is just staying grounded in God's word.
And being the success junkie as you are,
Mhm.
what advice can you give someone who needs a mental fast to get in a place where they can refocus and genuinely be happy again?
I would say just do it. I would just say do it. But one of the things though is the self-awareness part, because sometimes, how do you know? You know what I'm saying? How are you really realizing that you need a break? And so I think, if it seems like you're starting to feel stress, you got like 101 things on your mind, you find that you can't seem to focus, seem like you start stuff, can't start because you just all over the place. You find yourself maybe like wondering why you're not feeling happy in that moment or feeling sad. Like, start being self-aware of your emotions and your feelings,
Right.
and then step back and see what is going on. What's going on? Because sometimes things happen that can trigger you to start feeling that way. And so then I would say to you, ask yourself, is this something that I can control or something that I can't control? Because if it's something that you can't control, ain't no sense you sitting there staying in that space. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Don't beat yourself up about that. And then if it's something that you can control, then okay, if I can control the situation, then I need to get in control of the situation. What
Right.
do I need to do? What changes and adjustments I need to do? And taking a break can look so many different ways. So one of the things that I had started doing was getting away for the weekend. So I rent an Airbnb for like 2 nights, 3 nights. And when I go, I'm not going to do no work. I take a book of choice to read, something, inspiring. I take my journal book and I go by myself. And the reason I do that is because at home, like if you see my background, this is my office, okay?
Uh-huh.
So when I'm at home, it's so much stuff. I got inventory, I got, so here sometimes it's hard to like mentally like just close myself out because I have so much stuff around me that reminds me, oh, work. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? My
Right.
business. So when I remove myself from here and I can go somewhere that does not have any of these things here, it's like a woo-saw.
Okay.
So, I do Airbnbs because hotels nowadays, by the time you pay for a hotel, you might as well
Girl,
get an Airbnb. So I
might as
like
well.
having that
Yeah.
whole space to myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And just be wise about where you choose. So far I've been blessed. I've always picked good places. Plus I look at the locations, look at the reviews,
Of
see what
course.
people are saying,
Mm-hmm.
and just do a getaway. Whether it's a hotel, if you want to do a cabin, and it's about time with you. So it ain't about you and your girlfriends. It ain't about you and your man because they're gonna get their time.
Right.
This is about replenishing you. This is about you sitting back and having some time to self reflect. If you believe in prayer, pray during that time. Write your thoughts down. Read something inspiring and motivating. Because every time I come back, I'll be ready. I'll be ready to get right back out there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So doing that, and if you can't physically like leave home, then if you're in a house, just depending on how you're set up, sure, you got a space that you can go and that's your space. You just let the family know this weekend, go to your daddy.
Right.
Don't knock on my door. Like seriously, and just let everybody know I love y'all, but this weekend I need this. Sit down and talk to the family. Let the family know and get your time in. You know what I'm saying? And then other times it may not be about you physically moving yourself. It just might be about you stepping back. So if you need to stop watching TV, if you need to take a break off of social media, whatever it is that's as far as your mental, do that. And then start doing things that you need to do for yourself during that time. So yeah, if you feel like you need it, do it. Because if you don't take care of yourself, we gotta take ourselves first.
Right. Right.
Because if we don't, how can we continue to serve people from an empty cup? I can't.
You can't. Not at all.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to start. I learned to start making myself a priority. You know what I'm saying? So that self-awareness to me is so important because I'm able to start realizing what's going on. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Even recently, I think it's just the hormones,
Uh,
menopause, but I've been having a period like my life is good. I don't have nothing, but I just like, I mean, my mood swings and I'm like, oh my God, this has got to be menopause because it's like, I'm serious. It's like sometimes I just feel blah.
uh-huh.
Like, and I'm just like, what's going on? But by me being self-aware, I'm able to acknowledge it. And I would say this too, y'all: embrace however you're feeling. Know that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to have days where you ain't hee hee. That's called being human. But my advice to you is that, especially if it's some negative vibes coming in, some negative energy, you just don't want to stay there. But I'm not gonna say ignore those feelings. Shoot, if you're feeling some kind of way, embrace those feelings, acknowledge why you're feeling that way, and see what you can do to get out of that feeling. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you could be feeling some way because of someone. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe that might be someone you need to eliminate.
Right. Let them go. And I love the fact that you talked about just self-reflection. I think as women, sometimes we don't because we do put everything and everybody before us. And it's hard to self-reflect on something that we always keep busy. We're always doing something, throwing different ball, juggling different balls in the air. So when those signs come up, slow down. You need rest. You need this. We keep bypassing them. We keep dodging them. Well, I got a little bit more energy. I'll come back to it. And it seems like your battery meter keeps continue to go further and further down until it gets to zero. And then, like you say, you get to the point where you're almost stuck. You don't know what's going on. And I try to teach my women, just like you do your phone, when that phone start getting low, what do? You immediately get the charger. So you got to be able to grab yourself and understand when you start feeling low and at that point that your energy's low, now it's time to replenish. Drop whatever you're doing and replenish yourself now, because if you continue to get to zero, you may not be able to bounce back as fast as you think you can. And your
Yes.
body will take its time to rejuvenate until
Mm-hmm.
it gets to a space where it feels like it's comfortably ready to keep going. So
Mm-hmm.
please recognize the signs, as Sharon said. You got to do some self-reflecting and know what is normal and not normal and temporary, because there'll be some things that happen temporary and they bypass. But if something's lingering for too long,
Yeah.
please seek some professional help. Get with a group of women or a community that is going through what you're going through so you can support each other and not
Mm-hmm.
do it alone. So
And have someone that you can confide in and trust. and have
Yes.
someone to talk to too.
That's
You know what I'm
important.
saying?
That's
Because
very important.
you don't want to be going through this by yourself. Because that's something I did when in my darkest days, I really wasn't talking to anyone. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody chewed me out afterwards. When I told them, they said, "No, no, you should have been talking to me. You should have said something."
Yes, you
So
definitely got to say
definitely
something.
have someone that you trust that you can talk to, and prayerfully whoever you're choosing is someone who's going to speak life to you, someone who's going to encourage you, or even if they listen to you and say, "Hey, sis, go and find you a professional."
That's it.
You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? Someone's gonna keep
Yes.
it 100 because I love you. I can't help you in that area, so
Right.
go and get you some professional help. You know what
That's
I'm
it.
saying? Mm-hmm.
Yes. And with all that being said, please tell my audience where they can connect with you because you have so many gems. And I see on social media, like you said, you are definitely an inspirational, motivational speaker every day. Plus, you're
Oh,
transparent. So I think that's what makes it so believable that I can be successful. No matter what I've been through, no matter what I'm going through, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And I want you to share with them where they can find you.
okay. Well, for that daily dose of inspiration, you can follow me on Instagram on Mz Success Junkie. So, come on there and check your girl out. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? I always let the spirit lead me. Um, a lot of times I share stuff because it's stuff I don't went through. It's a moment that I'm having and I self-reflect on something. I'm like, ooh, that was good. That was deep for my spirits. I'm about to share this with the community. You know what I'm saying? So you can definitely follow me there. And then far as my business is homemade creations, like all one word, 2019 on Instagram and Facebook. And then my website is homemadecreationsllc.com. So if you ever want to go to my website, and check out some of my cards and my creations, you can go there.
Okay. Well, what I'll do, I'll make sure I put all our information in the show notes. Understand, you guys. You guys, if you decide to work with Sharon, she's a coach of transparency, a coach of faith, a coach of you believing that you can. And you always want you a coach that's been through something so you can have that truth and knowledge from that coach. So, Sharon, thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Yeah, thank
Hopefully,
you.
I can bring you on something else.
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you for having me. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely blessed and honored that you chose me to come on here and join you. You know what I'm saying? And I want to give a shout out to you too, my queen, because I feel like at the time, the season that I met you, we both was like, on the ground trying to get our way up. But I'm
Yes.
seeing your growth. I'm seeing how you're out here serving the women and helping these single women out here know that they can get organized and focused
Yes.
and make
Thank
things
you.
happen. So you're doing great things as well. So I'm glad that you saw something in me to come and be a part of your podcast.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate. I'll receive those flowers. And ladies, like again, make sure you guys reach out to Sharon, watch what she's doing, follow her, and until next week, you guys have a great day.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Bye.